5 minutes without a commercial, without a sip of water that I've ever done because it was chaos. It was chaos. And the whole country was locked into it. And in real time, I thought it was fantastic. I really got sucked into the moment.
JT, this was absolutely Schwarber's MVP to have, and there shouldn't be any debate. First of all, how much is going right in your life if you're complaining about the end of the All-Star game? Let's be clear about this, first of all. This does not determine anything. You and I were around when the game ended in a tie, and then for a few years, remember Fox, this time it counts. The game determined home field in the World Series. That's not what we're talking about here. This is an exhibition. It's an All-Star game, and it determines what? Bragging rights? Like these players give a shit anymore about National League, American League. There are no bragging rights. The bragging rights is winning the World Series. That's it. Nobody cares in that way about this. If you are in your life complaining about the All-Star Game MVP, you got a lot going right in your life because that means you get to actually put this on your priority list. So good for you. But this did not determine or steal anything from anybody. The only thing it was stolen from potentially is if Pete Alonso has a clause in his contract, which I bet he does, for All-Star Game MVP. And maybe you could argue that it was stolen from him. But will this game be remembered for anything other than Kyle Schwarber stepping to the bat like Casey Babe Ruth and going 3 for 3 on swings, hitting him out of the park to turn around that little home run derby and win the game all over again for the National League? Will it be remembered for anything but that?
No, it'll be remembered for that. And Chaz Chisholm ripping it down the line, which he could have been the star. Olsen makes the best plays ever made, right? But a couple of things. I'm going to push back on a few things. The All-Star game means a lot more than you just downplayed it. Stan Musial 24 times. Henry Aaron, Willie Mays. I think Pete Rose played in 17 or 18 and won 16 of them. Let that sink in.
Ask Ray Fosse if it mattered. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Derek Jeter, the guys who have played in the All-Star game. Dave Parker's throw, his legendary throw from right field. Been a lot of great moments in the All-Star game. It should not have come down to bringing a net. That's the vision I can't get out of my head. They brought a net out, a batting practice net, and they put it between the mound. Not the rubber.
Nope.
Nope. They
Nope.
put it in between for soft toss. So they set the net up. Really? We're gonna set the net up? Like we're not gonna have a guy come out there unprotected?
No,
a 50-year-old batting practice pitcher. We're gonna put the net there. I hate to tell you, Sam, that takes a little bit away from that MVP.
Okay.
And then we're doing soft toss. Soft toss. We're not getting Alonso hit the home run against an all-star in an all-star game. Schwarber hits it against soft toss.
Dino Ebel, the third base coach of the Dodgers, is throwing the ball to him like me and Levi in the backyard. Like, can you hit it? Here you go, underhand. Right. But can we at least admit that if you've got 3 swings and you got to hit the ball out of the park, what Schwarber did 3 for 3, even with me and Levi in the backyard on a tee. JT, if you and I go out there on a tee, if you just tell me I got to get 3 out of the infield, that may not happen. He hits 3 out of the park, 1 from his knee on the third one. And I want to say one other thing. Can we let Aaron Boone off the hook? I know that as a Yankee fan, I bet you crushed Aaron Boone, but I'd like to let him off the hook. Where do you stand on who batted for the American League and what Aaron Boone was supposed to do in that situation? Because I see that there was no issue at all, but I'm sure you've got some thoughts there.
Well, there's probably better players than the guy he had in the 3-hole.
Aranda hits in the 3-hole.
Yeah, I wouldn't have Aranda in the 3-hole. I don't know what my choices are if you give it to me. I would look at him and I'd find someone better than Aranda. And I'm also confused. What happened, this was a big victory for a number of people. First off, it was a big victory for Fox. Yes. Fox had a big night. Your former employer.
Absolutely.
They were unbelievable because they caught another amazing moment with the system for balls and strikes, the challenges, the Henry Aaron tribute.
The tribute was
off
epic.
The charts. They had the balls to let 2 managers talk at the same time. Not into that. Sorry, I like the game. I don't need them both talking. Pete Crow Armstrong, who I coached in T-ball.
Unbelievable. How did I forget that?
Sherman Oaks Little League.
Sherman Oaks Little League, which is very famous.
Yes, wow. He played 4 years, 4 seasons with my son. He's mic'd up. That was great. But the thing that happened, it's going to be remembered for Schwarber getting the MVP. That's a debate topic. That's what we're doing here. We're debating it.
It's done.
Atlanta won. The city of Atlanta won. It showcased the ballpark. They had a great experience. And it also, I think the big winner in all of this was the fact that Rob Manfred got people talking about baseball, instituted a new challenge system, which is a home run.
Huge.
Home
Huge.
run, just like
Huge.
Clock. Home run. And everybody's talking about it after the game. But I'm really struggling because when I got into the moment, so I'm doing this play-by-play for 30 minutes, 25, and I can't come up for air, man. I use that that line about treading water in the ocean. I mean, there was no Coast Guard coming. And I'm sitting there, my producers are like,
stretch.
Just like
They're
that,
saying,
if you
yeah,
want.
stretch.
Yeah,
They're saying stretch.
and I'm stretching.
Stretch.
And here's the best part of the story. I'm there stretching, and I'm like, all right, here comes the Rosarena. The pitch. Oh, he lets it go. It's right down the middle. Okay. Here's the next pitch.
Take.
So I'm doing a radio show, and I'm saying take. And that got me nervous because I'm like, this shouldn't be happening. And then the other thing that got me nervous is when they had their 3 swings and they were out.
Oh.
Instead of the next guy coming out, Tom Verducci's doing a podcast. Hey, man, what does it feel? And I'm like, Jesus, Tom, get him to the plate. And I'm doing that. But then when Schwarber came up, Sam, it's not about me, it's about him. But in all my years as a broadcaster and giving advice, I've never experienced that. And I experienced everything. Post-game shows at the Super Bowl, live on Radio Row, big events. And I'm sitting here going, I don't know how this is going to end. And I'm looking at the clock going, I got to go to break. And this might end in a tie. And they might have to do it again. And it ended beautifully. Schwarber, he's going to be signing. I got buddies who are in the memorabilia business. When Schwarber's 71 years old, he's going to be up in Jersey at some signing. And there's going to be a line of about 60 people. And he's going to have the picture with him on a knee. And he's going to sign it. Get this. MLB All-Star MVP 2025. He's going to get $100 for that signature.
And he should also sign it with 3 for 3 because he's 3 for 3. He's 0 for 2 in the game. He's 3 for 3 in the swing off. A couple more things about the swing off. I'm going to let Aaron Boone off the hook for a couple of reasons. All right. First of all, Aranda hit the ball dead to the wall on a line. Okay. And that nearly tied the game, right? Aranda hits a bullet into the brick that is not a home run. We're a foot from tying that game. All right. Also, Rooker went up there and hit 2 home runs, and Rosarena hit another one. So that's not nothing. They got 3 home runs out of 2 guys setting it up. It took a monumental moment of achievement from Schwarber in his softball hero moment to go 3 for 3 to steal it. And here's the other amazing part. Imagine this. Had Aranda, or frankly Aaron Judge, if he were there, that's the guy who deserves a little bit here if you're gonna rip on somebody. But if Aranda ties that, the amazing part about Alonso not getting the MVP, who was coming up if Aranda had tied it and it was tied at 4 in the home runs? It was Pete Alonso. Alonso would have been there to potentially walk it off in the home run derby on top of his 3-run homer in the game. Now, that would have been special, but you got to know that a guy from Philly loves the fact that Schwarber stole it from the Met, Alonso. And another guy other than Judge that we can potentially go after here, who won the home run derby the night before, JT? Who won it? Who won it? Now, Cal Raleigh is having a special season this season. Not a household name, big dumper. He is this season, and he's that for a lot of reasons. A, for what he did with the amount of home runs he had before the break. Number 2, he wins the home run derby, which, by the way, he won the tiebreak in the home run derby by an inch, which is amazing. I'm all for that. I got no problem with that. Then he goes out and he wins it over the next 2 rounds. He is a hero for winning the home run derby. All of a sudden, the All-Star game comes down to a home run derby, and the home run derby champ doesn't get up. He's not on the roster to hit home runs at the end of a game where he won the home run derby and he leads the league in home runs. Now that is unbelievable to me. As soon as that game gets to 6-4, you know what Aaron Boone says? And frankly, what Cal Raleigh should say to Aaron Boone? If you need me, because this thing is tied, this is what I'm on the planet to do for this year. For 2025, I'm on the planet to hit home runs in any park, wherever I am. Cal Raleigh, if he shows up to push his son on a swing in a park, should be hitting a home run. Where was he at the end of this game? He's the home run king for this season, and he let Schwarber steal his moment.
Yeah, and the issue becomes, what was the ruling on that? Because if you're going to do it right, everybody should be available. Now, when I went to bed last night, people were discussing there were several players who were showered and dressed. True. I don't know who they were, but the starting pitcher from Detroit, Schwarber, was there on the field.
He was there with a nice shirt like you and me, watching it, right? Now, granted, he's not going to swing. You're right. He's not going to swing because he's the pitcher and he's not Shohei Ohtani.
But what players were available that was showered and ready? Because in the All-Star game, if you come out in the fourth inning and it's 6-0 and you want to shower, real quick story, the biggest party of the year in Major League Baseball is the All-Star party for Major League Baseball. Yes. It's not the World Series, because I turned down game one. I had tickets to the World Series party when Freeman ruined my life with the walk-off grand slam. We had credentials to go to the open bar party, and we're like, get the hell out of here. The All-Star game party, which I've been to, is bigger. And I don't know who was available. And isn't that the issue? That why wasn't everybody told by Aaron Boone and Dave Roberts, hey, if this happens, Judge and Ohtani, you're going first. And then the other two I'll come up with. Why weren't they available?
Again, guys, you want to take a shower, take a shower. But guess what? You're going to go to the plate clean as a whistle then. Give me a break. You can't go if you showered. If you showered, even great. Your hair looks better. For your Bryce Harper ripping your helmet off and your hair, your flowing locks. I mean, that's what we want to see. I don't care if you're showered or not. Get out there. And to me, again, Judge and Ohtani, maybe you've earned a certain level where, you know what, maybe those guys left. I remember the famous story that A-Rod left, but it turned out that everybody leaves the All-Star game when they're done. All right, so fine. Judge and Ohtani, you want to leave? Cal Raleigh, this is your weekend. How many of us think the Mariners are winning the World Series? Cal Raleigh, this is your weekend, and it came down to the thing you do best this season, and he wasn't there. So I got more of a problem with him than anybody else. I'm letting Aaron Boone off the hook, and I want to remind everyone, Aranda hit the wall. He hit the wall. He did hit the ball. This is not a guy that swung and missed 3 times. These guys can hit home runs. Who thought Rooker was going to hit one in the game and then hit 2 in the swing off? This is Schwarber's moment. Don't steal it from him. Stop complaining about shit that doesn't affect your life. This is not going to determine home field in the World Series. Nobody cares about who actually wins the game. You're right about the one thing you said. Now Alonso has to sign home run derby champ instead of All-Star game MVP. That's what he has. He is a home run derby champ in the past, and when he's signing balls the rest of his life, he's going to be just fine. The polar bear, the Met, good for him. But Schwarber gets the 3-for-3 moment, and I got another question for everybody. You won't be able to answer this. Maybe someone in the chat has this ticket. Kyle Schwarber, anytime home run in the All-Star game. If you had that ticket, if you're holding $100 with a Kyle Schwarber anytime home run ticket, the game technically 6-6, headed to a swing off. Schwarber hasn't hit one yet. You've got $100 ticket, which is worth $850 back if he hits one, and he hits 3. I'm going to the window saying, wait a second, anytime home run, anytime. This is any fucking time. It's the most important time. He just hit 3. That ticket should cash, and I hope those of you that have it are getting that check in the mail, because that is a good call. Because what are the chances at 6-0 it was going to a swing off? Nobody saw that coming.
The MVP of an All-Star game went 0 for 2 and didn't play the field. 0 for 2 and didn't play the field in the box score. There's no place to put in the box score that there was a bat off, a swing off. There's no spot where you can put that in the box score. So the box score closes 6-6. Let me throw this back at you. Why not an extra inning? Why not a ghost runner on second?
Do you want, so how about this? Do you want a ghost runner? I'm okay with that. Now, apparently there was some debate years ago. This apparently went into effect in 2022. None of us knew about it because it never came down to the tie game. So I want to give credit again to the American League. I want to give credit to Kwan down to his last strike, slapping the ball the other way against the shift, beating it out to first base, then stealing second and potentially giving the American League a chance to win it right there. Rosarena strikes out. It doesn't happen. And strikes out on the challenge. We can get into that in just a little bit. But I love the fact, forget about the box score, JT. You and I are not old enough to sit here and complain like we were taking score, right? We had our scorebook out and we didn't know what to do. Oh, what do we write down now? You don't have to write shit because there's 1,000 people that are going to send stories out. You know what's going to be the face of the story? Kyle Schwarber, 3 for 3 to win All-Star Game for National League after, guess what? The guys that did play in the field and did get hits in the game, you know what they did? They blew a 6-0 fucking lead, and Schwarber came back and won it all for them.
Well, would you admit that if you had to rank all the All-Star Game MVPs, you would put this on the bottom of all of them?
You're completely wrong. You're completely
wrong.
wrong.
Him the MVP, but if you had a lineup on the red carpet of all the living MVPs, you would make him go first, not because it's the best. You would save the best for last because he did it against the batting practice fucking pitcher for the Dodgers. He's a bad practice pitcher. How old is he? I can't go on with this thing until you can Google it. How old that guy?
Dino, I'm going to find out right now. Dino Ebel. So maybe Dino Ebel deserves part of this MVP. Maybe when they sign it with Schwarber signing balls, maybe Ebel should throw him the balls to sign. Maybe that's what we should do, JT. They should show up when they're doing a signing, and Ebel's got to give him the ball so he can catch it underhand. Ebel, throw it underhand so Schwarber can catch it, and then let him sign it like that. Dino Ebel, congratulations. It's your moment as much as it's Schwarber's. I loved it. This will be remembered. Okay, there are All-Star Game moments in our mind. There's Bo Jackson. There's Torrey Hunter robbing Barry Bonds. There's obviously Fosse and Pete Rose. I will argue Schwarber on a knee 3 for 3 is absolutely up there. And the only thing it wasn't more memorable than anything else in this game, maybe, was when Fox was talking to pitcher and catcher at the same time. I will say that was cool, but it won't be more memorable to our children than Schwarber going 3 for 3 in the first ever. Remember, we're talking history, the first ever. I guarantee, by the way, Schwarber's cleats or bat or something from this game, you know where it's going? The Hall of Fame, I promise you.
Well, you're making this out to be a big Philly moment, which it is.
It was.
So I have no problem with that.
Stolen from the Mets.
But yeah, and no doubt it was. But when you look at the history of the All-Star Game, what we've learned in our conversation so far is I take the history of the game and what it means and the winning and losing a lot more seriously than you do.
Yes.
And a lot of our listeners I talked to last night and today said it's an exhibition. It's an exhibition. It really isn't. It's more than that. There's levels of degree of All-Star games. Like the baseball All-Star game is the only one that matters.
The only one.
The Pro Bowl destroyed. The Pro Bowl now playing ping pong and tug of war. That's
flag football bullshit.
Hockey playing 3-on-3.
Although the nation's tournament this year, you have to admit,
no, that was
this
different.
right?
That was
yeah,
different. That was a tournament.
Yes,
it wasn't an All-Star game. That was a tournament. And then you get to
basketball. No, NBA. First of all, NBA. It's Saturday night. It's Saturday night for basketball. Correct. Sunday means nothing. You win the dunk contest, you win the shooting contest, and then Sunday means absolutely nothing to these players. We know that. So
my sons use a term called old heads. And they say the old heads aren't going to like this. And I said, well, that's interesting because I liked it. I really enjoyed it because I was living it in real time. But after the adrenaline wore off, that's the best way I'm going to describe this. When the adrenaline wore off, and I went back to JT, the sports fanatic, the diehard sports fan, then the adrenaline level brought me down to, come on, man. This was soft toss, home run derby to end a game that's really important in the significance of the Midsummer Classic, the history of baseball. I believe Fred Lynn was the Rookie of the Year and won the MVP of the All-Star game. I think there's moments that matter. You mentioned Rose running over Fosse. Mark Fidrich. Everybody talked about the Miz.
Birdman,
the Miz could have been in that game. The Miz only had 5 starts, and the Miz came in there throwing 102. I was old enough to remember the Bird, Mark Fidrich, when he pitched in the All-Star game and was a phenom, and he was the talk of the summer going into that. That's what made the All-Star game great. Reggie Jackson hitting the transformer in Detroit. But Schwarber took advantage of the moment. Now, you want to give an ESPY award for taking advantage of a moment? He's right there. That was a beautiful moment for his career, his legacy. That trophy matters. That will be on his mantle for his kids to have the rest of their lives, and it's going to be a memory I never forget.
I'm not going to say it's Reggie or Pablo Sandoval hitting 3 in a game in the World Series. All right. It's clearly right. It's not that. All right. It's clearly not that. But think about iconic home run hitters in our life. Schwarber in Philly may have been an iconic home run hitter. And maybe to Cubs fans, he's an iconic home run hitter. But now for the entire world, he's an iconic home run hitter because of what he did in this tournament. And you could also argue people will remember, I guarantee you in 20 years, you ask people who won the home run derby in 2025, you know what they're going to say? Kyle Schwarber. They're not going to say Cal Raleigh. They're going to say Kyle Schwarber. One thing I want to hit before we get to your tip of the trade, JT, the ABS system, balls and strikes in baseball. Now, there are a lot of people a little older than you and I. By the way, Dino Evil is 59 years old. All right, so that's the one tossing underhand to Kyle Schwarber. But
I had the under in that. I did not have the over.
And maybe we should have put.
I'm 59. I should have been able to throw that pitch a little bit more better.
Maybe we could have gone with the ABS system for the swing off at the end, maybe, and run guys up before they hit them. But I'm going to say this for the ABS system, JT. I'm going to get out of your way for a moment. I want you've been watching baseball a little longer than I have. All right, but we got an opportunity to see it with big leaguers in the All-Star game. We saw challenges with tapping your head. We saw a beautiful graphic, and we saw plays in the moment instantaneously being changed. How did it affect what was happening? And it, by the way, it happened in some big moments. It happened 6-6 with the Rosarena at the plate. I mean, how did it just take you over in the moment to understand that all of a sudden your whole life you've been yelling at the screen and nothing could be done about it? Managers are getting thrown out of games, and never has a ball become a strike. Never has a strike become a ball. History at the All-Star game last night, a ball became a strike became a ball, a runner on became an out. How did it happen in your eyes?
I thought it was great. Normally I'd like to take a step back and see it more than once. And to see it on the grand stage of the All-Star game was fantastic. Because when I found out more about it, only the pitcher, the hitter, and the catcher are able to challenge. And they can't get any help. When you see an NBA game and the ball goes out of bounds and all the players are doing this, they're wringing their fingers around after every play, you just get sick and tired of it because that's all they do now. That's a new thing. Well, this is cool because you don't look at the dugout. The dugout, and look at other sports. They take the iPad, right? Hold on. And then they take the iPad and then they look and they go, challenge it. It was a lot like tennis. The comparison is tennis.
The Hawkeye. And 1,000%.
When Skinner's hitting serves at 130, and I said this, a 62-year-old British mother or grandmother cannot get down in a crouch in the skirt and go in or out. She's 62. She can't get that. So that technology has evolved to the point where it's perfect. That's what baseball did, and they did it in the All-Star game. So that instantly, because they were doing it in spring training, I was at the game here in Vegas. First time they ever did it was at the Las Vegas ballpark, which was fantastic. So next year, and chalk one up for Rob Manfred. It's another big one for Manfred. It's another win for him. It's going to be the norm now. Next season, you'll get the challenges. It'll be fast. And they do turn it around, I read today, in 13 seconds. So it's not a minute 30, like when the refs go under the hood in an NFL game and they could be there for 4 or 5 minutes. I thought it was brilliant.
And here's what I also want to tell everybody in regards to replay and getting it right and getting it wrong in social media. If me at home with the remote control can take a photo of something being right that a ref is getting wrong. In other words, if I have more of an advantage on my couch of seeing something that a ref is not, quote unquote, allowed to use in his differentiation of that particular play, that is irresponsible. Give an umpire, give an official, give a referee the same tool I have sitting on my couch, and that's what this does. How many broadcasts have we watched where the pitch comes in, the ump calls it whatever he does, and 20 seconds later on the broadcast, what are they doing? They're showing you the infrared, right, into the box. Is it a strike? We've been watching this on broadcasts for at least 5 years now, and finally they're using it in a game. Congratulations. You're so right about Hawkeye. Why do I need someone telling me if it's right or wrong if ultimately they're getting it wrong? Hockey used to have a 90-year-old man sitting in a box behind the goal to tell me if the puck went over the line or not. You think that was smart? The guy doesn't even have the best seat to understand what's happening there underneath the goalie. What do I want? I want a camera on all the goalposts telling me what's happening with that puck. Is it over the line or not? And that's what it should be. And Hawkeye, what would tennis be without it? And is anybody complaining? If there is a photo of something being wrong, and on the field they're saying it's the other way, that is blasphemous to all of us. Get it right. In 10 years, we're going to say, why wasn't it done sooner? It was beautiful. Quick tap of the head, quick graphic on the screen, right or wrong, in or out, get him out of the batter's box. It was beautiful. I love that. And now, JT, our last 5 minutes, I just want to hit you with this. We're going to do this every time we talk. JT's tips of the trade. I want to remind everyone of something. You and I have marinated on this game. This game started 23 hours ago, okay? The game started 25 hours ago, okay? So, you are on the air during the game, all right? You're sitting there talking about anything. It's 6-0. You're not even talking baseball on the air, all right? At this point, it's 6-0. The game's over. Nothing's going to happen. And all of a sudden, frankly, you might have been talking about somebody said to me today, hey, did you see the game last night? You know what he was talking about? He was talking about Caitlin Clark getting injured and coming back into the game. I mean, some people are not even paying attention to the All-Star game. It's 6-0. You're on the air. It's 6-4. It's a cute story. All of a sudden, the Guardians slap the ball, tie it up, and there's a graphic on screen that says that we're going to hit home runs and see what happens here. And you're there in the moment. Now, I want to remind everyone, all the shows you watched this morning with people ripping their hair out the way I am about what happened last night, yeah, that's because we got to marinate. We got to sleep on it. I got to hear other people complain and then get mad at them for complaining, all right? But in the moment, you are not only yelling to everyone on the radio what is happening. I mean, you were telling, there are people who are in their cars who didn't know what's happening, listening to you. You're telling them what Schwarber's doing in the moment, and you're forming an opinion because a caller has the balls to call you, much like you used to do, to say, wait a second, we just gave the MVP to a guy who went 0 for 2 in the game. What is it like? I call this the breaking news method, JT. You've been doing this for years. You've done more radio at night when games are happening than anybody. And it's one thing to just tell people what's happening, but it's another thing to form an opinion, which, by the way, is going to set the table for people who make millions of dollars to talk about it the next morning, who get to read about it all night, who get to listen to you. But what's it like to form the first opinion when Albert Pujols hits the ball out of the entire stadium against Brad Lidge in an NLCS? What's it like to define a historic moment when you are there live? The camera is on, the microphone is on, you are talking, and you're not just telling us what's happening, you're telling us the perspective on it. Tell us what that is like. I think it's the hardest job in all of sports. When you rip up a rundown to talk about something new and to create an opinion that matters, that is difficult. This is our tip of the trade. Go for it.
Yeah, I actually loved it because it was the perfect storm. It was the dead zone of sports where nothing's going on. So just take that into play, number one. This isn't coming off Thursday night football before a weekend of week 6 NFL action or college football on Saturday. This is the deadest night maybe of the year. It's on the Mount Rushmore. So when you go in and do a show like that, you got to be prepped. Number two, I know when people are not listening to me. They're not going to be listening to me when a game is in progress. But this was different because, as you said, there's a lot of people that aren't going to watch the All-Star game after the 6th or 5th inning, so they're tuning into me. They have it preset in their car on Mad Dog. It was wild, man, because instantly I knew how big it was. I knew the length of the time I had to fill. I knew I had to reset with the audience, something I learned a long time ago from our program director, Andrew Ashwood. So when a Rosarena comes up, I'm saying a Rosarena's up. He's trailing by 2. The National League is ahead. This is the 2025 All-Star game. I'm resetting all the time in my head. And then I'm looking going, man, it's 6 minutes past the hour. Our break's at 20. I'm in the deep water. I got to stretch. And then I got into a rhythm, and I really enjoyed that. I don't have a co-host, and I don't have a producer to talk to. I don't got the open mic producer who's begging to talk. So I'm proud of that. I know there's a lot of people that couldn't have done what I did last night because they don't know how to do it. They need the bagel meeting in the morning. They need the 6 guys in the meeting telling them what they have to see it again, replayed 5 times on the screen. They need the cut-ups from the producer. When you're doing it real time, the tip of the day is the tip of the trade. You got to reset. You got to remind people that are getting in their car and getting out of their car who might be listening to you for the first 20 seconds. What's going on? We're in Atlanta. We're at the All-Star game. This is a swing off. It's never happened before. And I kept reminding people because I'm proud of what I do. I really am. And I don't think throughout my entire career, no one in the suits, not the fans, they give me credit every day. You wouldn't believe how many tweets I got about the job I did. But you would think the suits would call me in the morning and say, man, that was pretty freaking amazing what you did. Nothing. And what I learned from it is just enjoy it. I kept telling people, I'm the first ever radio host nationally who's on the air during the swing off live.
History.
I mean, who gets to say that? The guys at Fox Sports Radio aren't doing it at that level. The guys at ESPN Radio aren't even allowed to talk. They were probably taking the game. The game was probably live on ESPN Radio. So I'm on Mad Dog, which is a caller-driven, you're allowed to have opinions, satellite channel. It was perfect. I couldn't have done it any better. I couldn't have embraced the moment more. We were able to wrap it up. And then from the old days with you, Game Time React, I did kind of get a little triggered when I saw there was only 2 people on hold. And I paused and I go, what are you doing? This is the greatest moment live. Get in here. People jumped in. Callers were leaving the ballpark. People were coming in. People were challenging me about the significance of the MVP. And I just ran with it. And then we took the sound of it and we came out of breaks with the sound. We took the Schwarber interview with Tim Kirchin and played it for 1:14. I tied it in and wrapped it up in a radio bow. It's one of the more memorable nights of my life, including the Malice at the Palace, the Villanova half-court walk-off where I go, it's God! It's God! The Albert Hubelhoff, he put it on the train track. Whenever you're live on the radio, embrace it because there's too much taped radio, bleeping podcast, and edits. So that's my tip of the trade.
I love it, and I just want to commend the tip of the trade for 2 things. Number one, it's 20 hours later. Listen to Mad Dog right now. You know what we're still chewing on Mad Dog Radio? You did it. You set the table 20 hours ago, and 20 hours later, the still number one topic to discuss today is Schwarber's merit as the MVP and some of the new additions that we saw to that All-Star game from last night. And that's because you took that momentum and carried it through the night so the next morning had the table set. And what you said, I want everyone to remember, even whether you're taking phone calls or not, you have to think about that person that's in the car driving wherever they are. You're painting the picture for them, but you're also giving them a reason to say to you while you're on the air, I hate what you're saying or I love what you're saying. It's having an opinion about what's happening. And you decided, how can I create a fervor? How can I create an energy? How can I create a platform for people who care about this right now to join me in this energy? That's what's infectious about what you do. You're inviting people to join you at that level. Create an opinion with me. Be a part of the first opinion for this historic moment because I'm setting the table for you right now to land on one side of this or the other.
If you took your top 5 sports radio hosts of your lifetime, in your opinion, not you, our audience, your top 5, whoever they were, and you put them in the situation that I was in last night, I was home. I wasn't in this studio with 14 different TVs. 3 out of the 5 would have A, had a heart attack or would have pissed down their leg. They would have not been able to get through the 20 minutes I got through. Maybe it's because I'm on late night. Hey, I was the overnight guy. I've had experience in it, but I enjoy it. It's not going to happen every night. You know how I wrapped up my show last night? I said, I'll never forget this night. What an honor it is to be on the radio. How great is it that I'll remember this show the rest of my life? The 2 hours and 10 minutes before that was rough, man. It wasn't. I'm not saying I get a Marconi Award for that. I just did a typical high energy show. But when something big happens, embrace it, go live, let it breathe, and have fun with it.
That's awesome. JT, the tip of the trade. We'll do one of these every time we talk because you've got so many stories from doing this and doing it in a unique way. Congrats on being a part of this in the moment last night, creating an opinion for the rest of the world in the moment. And I was there to rip your fucking head off as soon as you were done and said, I absolutely want to hit this again. And we did. But we love you. You're checking it out right now at JT the Brick. You're checking it out at Thinking Out Loud, Siciliano and Sam. Thank you all. Please like and subscribe for everything that you're listening to and you're hearing right now. JT, you've worked too hard today, and we don't work more than 45 minutes for free, so we are getting the hell out of here on this one. We love you.
Thank you, Sam.